Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. I was too busy playing my pan flute, contemplating life's mysteries, and nursing tiny baby birds back to health and strength with my bare hands. I'm Shaun McLaren, Star City Games content producer slash hunk, and I'm applying to be the next bachelor. I'm hoping that love is in the cards for me. I have many talent, which is why I've recorded a video of me playing Magic the Gathering, so you can get a sense of my mojo, my magic, my mojo jojo. Well, I have to go to Australia now. Bye! So let's go over the deck list. For Nahiri, Emrakul. I've been testing with and without Emrakul in the main deck. I think it's fairly close, but with this list specifically, I like the Emrakul main, and then I sided out in a lot of matchups. Cryptic is a card I like with Nahiri, being able to tap down their team and combined with Snapcaster usually buys you enough time to ultimate Nahiri. And Vendilion Clique combined with Emrakul, when you draw Emrakul, which you never want to do, but when you draw Emrakul, you can... Clique just basically says flash flying 3/1 draw a card if you clique yourself and get rid of the Emrakul, which is a pretty good card. One Electrolyze I like. It's not necessarily the greatest in a format with like Death Shadow and beefier zoo decks compared to how it used to be in Modern with Infect and Affinity being more popular. But I like having access to one, especially with Snapcaster Mage. 3 Helixes. I like Helix over something like Timely because it can be proactive against decks like Tron and such. And then 3 Remands and 2 Mana Leaks. This could be 3 Mana Leaks easily. I like the Remands with Clique though, when you're beating down just buying more time is pretty good and drawing a card as well. 2 Ancestrals. I like having a lower Ancestral count when I'm playing with Emrakul, especially since it digs you towards Emrakul more likely, and you don't want to have too many do-nothing cards. Like, these are all cards that just do nothing in the early game, so I don't like to run too many Ancestral Vision. I think 3 is a bit much when you're running Emrakul, so I've been happy with 2. Serum Visions is great for those. 1 Spell Snare. I prefer the unconditionable unconditionable isn't the word. Unconditional counter magic like Mana Leak and Remand, or at least unconditional on turn 2 and 3 and in the early game. Spell Snare is good, but not as good as Mana Leak and Remand, I don't think. Too many times I've been burned by just like a Liliana or 3-drop or whatever, or a bunch of 1-drops and Spell Snare being dead. And it's not very good when you have all these 1-drops that you want to be casting anyways, but still a good card. I like having 1. That's usually the number I run, and not changing that yet. 2 Colonnades is perhaps a little bit on the low side, but Again, I want to be casting my 1-drops as soon as possible, Ancestral Serve Visions and Spell Snares, which means I've bumped it up to 3 islands. And other than that, pretty normal mana base. The sideboard is all one-ofs, which uh, just sort of happened naturally. So we'll go through some of those cards. It's nice having a 15 card sideboard because your opponent's always going to be guessing. 15 singleton card sideboard. Engineered Explosives is great against all sorts of things. Boggles, Infect, Death Shadow. 2 explosives seems alright in certain formats. Relic is going to be good against dredge decks. There's a lot of those online, and this deck isn't very good against them, especially when you don't have Anger main deck. Also good against Tarmogoyfs. Dispel, pretty standard for winning counter fights. Purge, good against Liliana and Nahiri and whatever else you might face that involves black or red permanents. Stony Silence, kind of fallen out of favor as Affinity's fallen out of favor, and other aggressive decks have kind of risen, which is rough because Stony Silence is also good against Tron, but whatever. Under my umbrella of counter magic, we have Negate, which is just solid against all sorts of decks. Trying out a Shadow of Doubt, which is mostly going to be good because it's completely unexpected right now. But there are a lot of decks like the Mirror, Tron, Scapeshift, Court of Calling decks where Shadow of Doubt is going to shine. Spellskite is great in a bunch of matchups. Infect, Death Shadow, Boggles. Spreading Seas is not a card I'm in love with, but still worth trying. Good against Tron, Jund, Cycling. It's a little slow for my taste, but we'll give it a try. Geist, wherever you need to increase your clock, it's fine to have one of them, I would say. I prefer Vendilion Clique in general, but it's also an absolute killer in the mirror. Anger of the Gods for your first sweeper. Staticaster, great against birds and Affinity and Infect. Wear Tear for random hate cards like Pithy Needle as well as Affinity. Crumble to Dust, best against Tron, which is one of your worst matchups, and Crumble is a way to just get them. And finally, Wrath of God, best against Thrun in general, but also a good catch-all answer that is nice to have access to compared to Anger of the Gods when there's bigger creatures. And I think that pretty much covers it, so let's hop in a league and play some games.